South Africa up against Namibia in their both teams' second game of the Rugby World Cup. I've put their rankings in the pools up for the moment, but it doesn't mean a lot after one game. South Africa a third, Namibia a fourth. Neither side have got a win yet. South Africa would have been disappointed in their first game. I know a lot of fans were pretty disappointed with that result. You feel like the team wasn't as sharp as they could have been. A lot of key players didn't have their best games in the Springbok jersey. Namibia, I think, perhaps fought better than people thought they were going to do. They certainly did their jersey and their country pretty proud in terms of scoring a few tries. They still got roundly beaten, but I think, overall, their performance levels were higher than people expected them to be, which is great. It's what we want to see at the Rugby World Cup. We don't want to see teams getting absolutely walloped. But potentially that's what we've got on the cards here. I guess we will see. I'll put the teams in the description so you guys can check them out. The Springboks have made a raft of changes. Gelant comes in at fullback, which is cool because I think most Springbok fans would say that Willie Louw didn't have his best game the other day, but it also could be, just with the turnaround getting a bit of a rest. Nkosi, I think, will be a very welcome return for Springbok fans. The fact that he wasn't selected for the last game was pretty disappointing, as he has been in absolute startling form. Mapimpi retains his spot on the wing, and he was largely, I don't know if it's blamed, but he was given a fair bit of criticism for his performance at the weekend. The All Blacks definitely did a few tricks to try and pull him out of position with the rush defence. And they talked about it prior to the Rugby World Cup. Steve Hansen, I think, called the Springboks kind of gamblers in the way that they operate their wings. So it might be that they got them to gamble once and they got some pay out of it. So he'll be looking for a better performance in this one. Anyway, he'll probably have a bit more work to do with ball in hand if things go according to what's on paper. Frans Steyn gets a start at last. That guy's been in the Springboks set up now for quite some time under Rassie, but I don't remember him getting starts. So he finally gets a start at number 12. Lukhanyo retains his spot at 13. Elton Yankees gets a start at 10, and I think many of us would say that Andre Pollard had his worst game in quite some time against the All Blacks. So whether it would be good to give him a rest like they're doing here, or maybe it would have been better to give him a chance to get back on the front foot and kind of wash those negative feelings away. I don't know, but I mean, he had to have a break at some point, so I guess this is a good time to do it. I mean, they did play on Saturday, so it is a week between games. I don't know how you manage the players like that, but Herschel Yankees gets a spot at 9, so that's going to be interesting for the commentators, Yankees to Yankees. But a lot of people were calling for him to come on to that All Blacks game a bit earlier, and he has really shown that he can inject something to the game when he comes on. So let's hope he can do it from from the start. For the forwards, Tendai Mtawarira gets a start. Bongi and Mbonambi gets a start. Neither of those guys started last week, but they were both on the bench. Vincent Koch gets a start. He wasn't even in the squad, so good for him to get some minutes. Snyman is starting in the second row. He was off the bench last week. And Jager, he starts and again wasn't in the squad. So a bit of rotation going on. They do have to keep these guys fresh. Francois Lood gets a start from the bench. Kwagga Smith, he wasn't in the squad last week. He gets a game. That's probably a good thing. And Schalk Brits is at number 8. I think that selection had a lot of people, I don't know if they're scratching their heads, but like looking forward to seeing what this guy can do. When he got selected, a lot of people were saying, why on earth is he picking Schalk Brits? Why isn't he picking one of the other good hookers in South African rugby? Apparently part of his thing, aside from his leadership, because he is captain, is his versatility to cover the back row as well. He's far from the only number 2 to do that. Dion Free's been doing that for years. So South Africa's got a history of it. Malcolm Marx, equally adept at the back row, you'd think. So that's going to be cool to see. The bench, Kitshoff, Thomas du Toit, who's flown out to replace Trevor Nyakane. So he's on the bench. It's the best on the bench. Kolisi, Mostert, Dialende and Colby, all those guys started last week, and Kobus Reinach is on the bench, who wasn't in the squad last time. So Faf de Klerk gets an out-and-out rest. For Namibia, and again, I'm far from as familiar with these guys as I am the Springboks. I see that they've made a few changes. Some of the guys are still there. Trump's still there at fullback, likewise Plato. Grayling moves to 13 from the wing. PJ Walters moves up from the bench. Leslie Klim is back from injury, so he's on the left wing. Lobsa is at 10, and Herschel. Too many Yankees in this game, man. Eugene Yankees gets a start at number 9. So both sides have a 9 who is a Yankees, and he was on the bench last week. He's one of Namibia's all-time top caps winners, so good for him to get a start against the Springboks. Boyson as at number 8. He didn't play last week. The other 2 back rowers were from the bench last week. The captain is still the same in the second row. The front row has changed from some of the guys who are on the bench. Again, I'm kind of struggling a wee bit with the squad because I don't know the guys as well as I should. Johan Deisel is there on the bench. He's their regular captain, so he is finally back from injury, so it'll be good to see him get on. Obviously, he's not 100%, otherwise he may be starting. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Namibia goes. They've certainly rotated the squad a wee bit in terms of trying to keep guys fresh after that Italy game. They played on Sunday, so they're actually on 1 day less rest than South Africa. Interestingly, Conradi has moved to the bench, and he was the top tackler for their last game. But the bookies have got South Africa by 59 points, which would be a bit of a hiding. Rugby forecast the algorithms slightly easier on Namibia, with 49 points being the difference. They've played twice before. In 2007 in Cape Town, it was 105-13. And at the 2011 World Cup, it was 87-0. So Namibia has traditionally, only from these 2 games, not fared that well against their African rivals. But again, I think we all hope, number 1, injury-free, but number 2, that like Namibia, even if they are going to get a big scoreline put on them, do have those moments like they did against Italy where they can maybe score a try or get some line breaks and put in some big tackles and whatnot. But yeah, the Springboks will definitely be looking for a big bonus point win to get their campaign properly underway. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the squads. How do you think this one's going to go? And I will talk to you again soon. See you later. You guys know I'm into my rugby gear. If you are interested in getting some rugby kit, especially for the 2019 Rugby World Cup, check out England Rugby Store. It's not just for England gear, despite the name. All Blacks, Japan, Georgia, South Africa, Ireland, all the kit is here if you are keen on getting some rugby gear. Discount code 2cents10. If you put that in when you're going to the checkout, you get an additional 10% off your purchase. So the link is in the description for England Rugby Store. Do check it out, guys. If you're going to get some jerseys, now's the time to do it. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the tournament.